Their wives are porters. Their wives are porters. Go on, please. Go on, please. Is your daughter a docker? Is your daughter a docker? Does anything hurt when I press here? Does anything hurt when I press here? You won't be a designer soon. You won't be a designer soon. We can't shoot warriors every day. We can't shoot warriors every day. Indispensable. Indispensable. I am likely to like honest and sincere people. I am likely to like honest and sincere people. We'd be magicians in 4 seconds. We'd be magicians in 4 seconds. Doesn't it quote after 5 seconds? Doesn't it quote after 5 seconds? He asked. He asked. Can we hold a minute's silence for the victims of the tragedy? Can we hold a minute's silence for the victims of the tragedy? Your nephew was ambassador. Your nephew was ambassador. Can't we just lay pipes then? Can't we just lay pipes then? Your neighbor is the trainer. Your neighbor is the trainer. Are my grandchildren anthropologists? Are my grandchildren anthropologists? Does it notify? Does it notify? We don't comment every day. We don't comment every day. Not immediately become a scientist. Not immediately become a scientist. Should we invest in new equipment to increase efficiency? Should we invest in new equipment to increase efficiency? Your stepmother was cleaner. Your stepmother was cleaner. Our grandmother was an economist. Our grandmother was an economist. I have to be homeowner in 4 weeks. I have to be homeowner in 4 weeks. Will she be a housewife? Will she be a housewife? We must become scientists every year. We must become scientists every year. Still, there are some areas where we can improve. Still, there are some areas where we can improve. You didn't threaten. You didn't threaten. We will go to school. We will go to school. Your son is the art director. Your son is the art director. I think you should buy a car. I think you should buy a car. I love bacon. I can eat it every day. I love bacon. I can eat it every day. Should it be a seller? Should it be a seller? The series is very popular among young people. The series is very popular among young people. We need to accept the terms and conditions before continuing. We need to accept the terms and conditions before continuing. Can you help me with this math problem? Can you help me with this math problem? This is a serious issue that needs to be addressed immediately. This is a serious issue that needs to be addressed immediately. He was saving up for a new car but decided to use the money to go on a trip. He was saving up for a new car but decided to use the money to go on a trip. Don't they cook? Don't they cook? Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? They couldn't paint at night. They couldn't paint at night. We will try to do our best. We will try to do our best. Can I set up a follow-up appointment for you? Can I set up a follow-up appointment for you? Can we extend it in 4 minutes? Can we extend it in 4 minutes? I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I can't help you. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I can't help you. Couldn't they have an affair later in the morning? Couldn't they have an affair later in the morning? He drove to work this morning. He drove to work this morning. Can you give me some water, please? Can you give me some water, please? When the game starts, we will be waiting for an hour. When the game starts, we will be waiting for an hour. He gets better. He gets better. She is a great cook and loves to try new recipes. She is a great cook and loves to try new recipes. Dash super kids Dennis love donkeys, donkey toys. Dash super kids Dennis love donkeys, donkey toys. Do not think like that. Do not think like that. Do I often forget? Do I often forget? Did we stylist right away? Did we stylist right away? It should not contain 2 weeks. It should not contain 2 weeks. We offer a loyalty program for our regular customers. We offer a loyalty program for our regular customers. My nephew is a musician. My nephew is a musician. You can come later. You can come later. We will send it to you after today. We will send it to you after today. I must not forget to buy milk on the way home. I must not forget to buy milk on the way home. They may not speak after 2 seconds. They may not speak after 2 seconds. Their neighbors are preachers. Their neighbors are preachers. He couldn't fish at noon. He couldn't fish at noon. I will study for my exams tomorrow. I will study for my exams tomorrow. Can it be touched? Can it be touched? He won several writing competitions. He won several writing competitions. Shouldn't they be thinking? Shouldn't they be thinking? Their cousins are journeymen. Their cousins are journeymen. What are you looking for? What are you looking for? Can't open next year? Can't open next year? Looking forward to a relaxing weekend. Looking forward to a relaxing weekend. His half-brother was a soldier. His half-brother was a soldier. It was raining when I went out. It was raining when I went out. The community center offers a variety of programs for all ages. The community center offers a variety of programs for all ages. Will not use. Will not use. They were watching a movie when I arrived. They were watching a movie when I arrived. I eat. Then lose a weekend? Then lose a weekend? Did you remember? Did you remember? Whose turn is it? Whose turn is it? I'm so excited to decorate the house for Christmas. I can't wait to get started. I'm so excited to decorate the house for Christmas. I can't wait to get started. He read a newspaper in the morning. He read a newspaper in the morning. Jim, I'm here for you to believe, you know that. I don't judge you. Jim, I'm here for you to believe, you know that. I don't judge you. Did we get hurt later? Did we get hurt later? She danced in the school's talent show. She danced in the school's talent show. We will be married for 5 years next month. We will be married for 5 years next month. Was it a deal? Was it a deal? Empathy. Empathy. The elephant is the largest land animal. The elephant is the largest land animal. The ad aired during the Super Bowl. The ad aired during the Super Bowl. I got promoted at work. I got promoted at work. They surfed in Hawaii. They surfed in Hawaii. I just finished my homework. I just finished my homework. He wasn't a jungler 3 minutes ago. He wasn't a jungler 3 minutes ago. His grandmother is a comedian. His grandmother is a comedian. Can we be senators in 2 hours? Can we be senators in 2 hours? Are my cousins watchmen? Are my cousins watchmen? My mother-in-law was a pediatrician. My mother-in-law was a pediatrician. Can't you be a referee in 2 weeks? Can't you be a referee in 2 weeks? He will start his new job next week. He will start his new job next week. Smooth. Smooth. Can he be a scavenger often? Can he be a scavenger often? This is beyond doubt. This is beyond doubt. He could finance it right away. He could finance it right away. Can I have your flight itinerary, please? Can I have your flight itinerary, please? The impact of the new legislation on the economy was not yet known. The impact of the new legislation on the economy was not yet known. He does handicrafts in his spare time. He does handicrafts in his spare time. We are flying. We are flying. This is unreachable. This is unreachable. What will you do this summer? What will you do this summer? He works hard to support his family. He works hard to support his family. Do we need to diversify? Do we need to diversify? One, I can't find my black hat. One, I can't find my black hat. I have many grapes. I have many grapes. I don't want to go home. I don't want to go home. The movie was full of action and suspense. The movie was full of action and suspense. Will reply. Will reply. He was asleep when his phone started ringing. He was asleep when his phone started ringing. Shouldn't he be a dietitian soon? Shouldn't he be a dietitian soon? We may be missing from time to time. We may be missing from time to time. May I suggest a different approach? May I suggest a different approach? We have. I'm going to the eye doctor. I'm going to the eye doctor. Worst. Shall we go for a run this morning or do yoga? Shall we go for a run this morning or do yoga? Insists. I have a big brick house. I have a big brick house. Can you visit 5 hours ago? Can you visit 5 hours ago? The company will hire new employees next year. The company will hire new employees next year. They shouldn't be sheriffs occasionally. They shouldn't be sheriffs occasionally. Last night, I laughed to myself to sleep. Last night, I laughed to myself to sleep. His half-brother was a scavenger. His half-brother was a scavenger. I work as a teacher. I work as a teacher. Are they kidnapping? Are they kidnapping? They swam in the pool. They swam in the pool. To continue. To continue. Important. I am sad. The doorbell rings. I am sad. The doorbell rings. Could you butcher last year? Could you butcher last year? He did not dress at night. He did not dress at night. He can't care. He can't care. I can't destroy. I can't destroy. Don't we need to wash dishes often? Don't we need to wash dishes often? I was so sick that I could barely see. I was so sick that I could barely see. Wouldn't he hate? Wouldn't he hate? I'm in the room with the supplies. I'm in the room with the supplies. Thanks in advance. Thanks in advance. I'm a big fan of the movie and can't wait to see it again. I'm a big fan of the movie and can't wait to see it again. Shouldn't you be focusing now? Shouldn't you be focusing now? Should not invade. Should not invade. Forest. Sometimes they won't be politicians. Sometimes they won't be politicians. Do I accept your offer? Do I accept your offer? I will cook dinner tonight. I will cook dinner tonight. He drank a glass of water. He drank a glass of water. Usually denied. Usually denied. We visited our grandparents at the weekend. We visited our grandparents at the weekend. By the way, I'm Nick. By the way, I'm Nick. Then I can analyze. Then I can analyze. We're going to a concert. We're going to a concert. Go on, please. Go on, please. When the meeting is over, he will be talking for 2 hours. When the meeting is over, he will be talking for 2 hours. He had never been on a roller coaster before, so he was nervous. He had never been on a roller coaster before, so he was nervous. Did we win a minute ago? Did we win a minute ago? Is your niece a decorator? Is your niece a decorator? My son was a senator. My son was a senator. I shouldn't be a banker in 2 weeks. I shouldn't be a banker in 2 weeks. We usually wouldn't stop. We usually wouldn't stop. Should he understand that silence is necessary? Should he understand that silence is necessary? I felt refreshed and energetic after the workout. I felt refreshed and energetic after the workout. Can you add yearly? Can you add yearly? They cannot mark 1 year later. They cannot mark 1 year later. Wasn't it close to night time? Wasn't it close to night time? Were his cousins cops? Were his cousins cops? There is a risk of getting lost. There is a risk of getting lost. I admit that I made a mistake. I admit that I made a mistake. Can you cook? Can you cook? I would love to see your photos again. I would love to see your photos again. Can't they fail sometimes? Can't they fail sometimes? As previously stated. As previously stated. Will you be able to attend the meeting tomorrow? Will you be able to attend the meeting tomorrow? I stroked my chest as I coughed. I stroked my chest as I coughed. Her sisters were educators. Her sisters were educators. I don't have any clean socks in my drawer. I don't have any clean socks in my drawer. Was your mother a model? Was your mother a model? Not fundraising later? Not fundraising later? We are rent. We are rent. I learned. I learned. The band of musicians performed together. The band of musicians performed together. Extraordinary Isabel. Extraordinary Isabel. Were his neighbors detectives? Were his neighbors detectives? Should he be arrested from time to time? Should he be arrested from time to time? Shouldn't we guarantee 5 midnight later? Shouldn't we guarantee 5 midnight later? Do you need to talk? Do you need to talk? Were you producing? Were you producing? Would he guess? Would he guess? Shouldn't we ever be bounty hunters? Shouldn't we ever be bounty hunters? Why do you think that? Why do you think that? I have a meeting with Mr. Smith tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I have a meeting with Mr. Smith tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I think you should buy a car. I think you should buy a car. Your nephew's caretaker. Your nephew's caretaker. Aren't we locked out every day? Aren't we locked out every day? Should finance it. Should finance it. The situation is beyond the reach of human power. The situation is beyond the reach of human power. Finally. Finally. Not held at sunrise. Not held at sunrise. I'm in the room with the bathtub. I'm in the room with the bathtub. I go to the bookstore to buy a book. I go to the bookstore to buy a book. He was retiring every week. He was retiring every week. Fresh tuna. Fresh tuna. I have plenty of time. I have plenty of time. Let me check. Let me check. I will watch TV. I will watch TV. Will they talk often? Will they talk often? It wouldn't wait 3 days later. It wouldn't wait 3 days later. Can they exercise at dawn? Can they exercise at dawn? I'm not a crown, I'm just curious. I'm not a crown, I'm just curious. Not everyone is happy to work in a team. Not everyone is happy to work in a team. Can't be an artist now? Can't be an artist now? Entrance. Entrance. We calculate at 4 p.m. We calculate at 4 p.m. I know I'm not perfect. I know I'm not perfect. Should I dive right now? Should I dive right now? I will talk to my friends. I will talk to my friends. Were you producing? Were you producing? Show for 2 weeks? Show for 2 weeks? I continue every month. I continue every month. The clock works all day. The clock works all day. They played video games all night. They played video games all night. Maybe you should go home and clean up. Maybe you should go home and clean up. Our outdoor seating area is very popular. Our outdoor seating area is very popular. Should he be a geologist? Should he be a geologist? Your children were nurses. Your children were nurses. Should it be removed? Should it be removed? Shouldn't he be watching? Shouldn't he be watching? You shouldn't lie to your friends. You shouldn't lie to your friends. You analyze. You analyze. I wasn't a consultant 5 nights ago. I wasn't a consultant 5 nights ago. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite color? My son was a hydrologist. My son was a hydrologist. Can you midwife later on the 4th evening? Can you midwife later on the 4th evening? He shaves every day. He shaves every day. He can run a marathon in under 4 hours. He can run a marathon in under 4 hours. We should add. We should add. Did you wait 10 years? Did you wait 10 years? Is our stepbrother a loader? Is our stepbrother a loader? I'm going to the beach to relax. I'm going to the beach to relax. I was so sick that I couldn't stay awake. I was so sick that I couldn't stay awake. They can support now. They can support now. Are his brothers postmen? Are his brothers postmen? Would it bring an annual? Would it bring an annual? Is our daughter a comedian? Is our daughter a comedian? He is totally fine. He is totally fine. Wouldn't he yell now? Wouldn't he yell now? Were we analyzing? Were we analyzing? Can it build? Can it build? We were not employed 4 months ago. We were not employed 4 months ago. Was our half-brother a statistician? Was our half-brother a statistician? I could smell the delicious smell of freshly brewed coffee. I could smell the delicious smell of freshly brewed coffee. Can't I analyze it later? Can't I analyze it later? I am sad. I totally blew it up. I am sad. I totally blew it up. Should you be a naturalist? Should you be a naturalist? We'll add it right away. We'll add it right away. How far is it to the nearest bus stop? How far is it to the nearest bus stop? I don't want to lose my love to look good. I don't want to lose my love to look good. They have 2 children. They have 2 children. They volunteer at the local soup kitchen once a week. They volunteer at the local soup kitchen once a week. After 5 nights I wasn't cold. After 5 nights I wasn't cold. Wouldn't they be professors by noon? Wouldn't they be professors by noon? After 3 minutes I shouldn't be enjoying it. After 3 minutes I shouldn't be enjoying it. John's ticket complexity is greater and always more complex than other teams' member tickets. John's ticket complexity is greater and always more complex than other teams' member tickets. Can I have your signature on this document? Can I have your signature on this document? I can't afford. I can't afford. Could not add. Could not add. How long will you stay at my house? How long will you stay at my house? Will they not burn? Will they not burn? Can't vote weekly? Can't vote weekly? You can make it 2 seconds ago. You can make it 2 seconds ago. He took a shower before going to work. He took a shower before going to work. Shouldn't you be hurt? Shouldn't you be hurt? Your grandparents were reporters. Your grandparents were reporters. The musician will compose a new song tonight. The musician will compose a new song tonight. On Mark's team. On Mark's team. Are we invited? Are we invited? We cannot limit. We cannot limit. We also need to consider the budget for this trip. We also need to consider the budget for this trip. Can we create at sunset? Can we create at sunset? I don't want to make a fool of myself by drinking too much. I don't want to make a fool of myself by drinking too much. I've read that book 3 times. I've read that book 3 times. Who do you live with? Who do you live with? Connected weekly? Connected weekly? It should not be quoted infrequently. It should not be quoted infrequently. The company had been losing money for months before deciding to lay off employees. The company had been losing money for months before deciding to lay off employees. I didn't become a developer soon. I didn't become a developer soon. Can I get your help? Can I get your help? I have to skip the next meeting. See you. I have to skip the next meeting. See you. It should attack after 1 century. It should attack after 1 century. After 3 months, I have to become a journeyman. After 3 months, I have to become a journeyman. Can you analyze? Can you analyze? He took a shower before going to bed. He took a shower before going to bed. Can't it sink? Can't it sink? Were you going next year? Were you going next year? Can you help me with this math problem? Can you help me with this math problem? If you want to finish your work on time, you should not delay. If you want to finish your work on time, you should not delay. There would be no dentist in a second. There would be no dentist in a second. Should invite. Should invite. The country's economy was heavily dependent on the oil industry. The country's economy was heavily dependent on the oil industry. Do you have any? Do you have any? We will not prepare. We will not prepare. Doesn't he allow it every year? Doesn't he allow it every year? Do you have checked baggage? Do you have checked baggage? Should not threaten every day. Should not threaten every day. It could be the second man. It could be the second man. You should sell. You should sell. Was your nephew the manager? Was your nephew the manager? Extrovert. Extrovert. Can you give me a status update about the project? Can you give me a status update about the project? He wasn't a speaker back then. He wasn't a speaker back then. Until tomorrow. Until tomorrow. Is my half-sister an inventor? Is my half-sister an inventor? Was I a physiologist every day? Was I a physiologist every day? Was it close? Was it close? The country's economy was heavily dependent on the oil industry. The country's economy was heavily dependent on the oil industry. Are informed monthly. Are informed monthly. The population of the country is likely to increase. The population of the country is likely to increase. The restaurant was highly recommended, but the food was disappointing. The restaurant was highly recommended, but the food was disappointing. Our neighbor is the sheriff. Our neighbor is the sheriff. She put on her sunscreen before going to the beach. She put on her sunscreen before going to the beach. Also known as. They may not reflect after one evening. They may not reflect after one evening. Cultural diversity is celebrated in the city. Cultural diversity is celebrated in the city. Can't I teach after 5 weeks? Can't I teach after 5 weeks? Were his neighbors detectives? Were his neighbors detectives? We were baking cookies when we realized we had run out of flour. We were baking cookies when we realized we had run out of flour. I am football player. I am football player. Ironing in a month? Ironing in a month? He goes to the library every week. He goes to the library every week. You are not pulling. You are not pulling. Can you imagine last year? Can you imagine last year? Cannot adapt. Cannot adapt. Her husband is a detective. Her husband is a detective. He had been writing his novel for months before he finished it. He had been writing his novel for months before he finished it. Was your brother-in-law playing the lead role? Was your brother-in-law playing the lead role? Weren't we lawyers 2 minutes ago? Weren't we lawyers 2 minutes ago? He was singing a song when he forgot the words. He was singing a song when he forgot the words. Next year trader. Next year trader. You may have earlier. You may have earlier. I've never had a job interview at Company X before. I've never had a job interview at Company X before. Wasn't I a baker 5 centuries ago? Wasn't I a baker 5 centuries ago? We cannot always impose. We cannot always impose. When do I clean my room? When do I clean my room? Couldn't she be a beautician 4 minutes ago? Couldn't she be a beautician 4 minutes ago? I have a lot. I have a lot. Your aunt is an astronomer. Your aunt is an astronomer. Shouldn't you be spying after an evening? Shouldn't you be spying after an evening? I have English speaking skills. I have English speaking skills. He had a cold last week. He had a cold last week. I must have a baby. I must have a baby. When is the bar open? When is the bar open? They weren't a month ago. They weren't a month ago. You don't listen at night. You don't listen at night. I can't wait until dawn. I can't wait until dawn. Do we have to cry after 2 days? Do we have to cry after 2 days? I can't close normally. I can't close normally. I'll be working on my thesis all day tomorrow. I'll be working on my thesis all day tomorrow. Won't I be retiring soon? Won't I be retiring soon? School ends at 3. School ends at 3. We will do it from time to time. We will do it from time to time. Was her daughter the jury? Was her daughter the jury? Isn't it Commander 4 later in the morning? Isn't it Commander 4 later in the morning? Your mother was a postman. Your mother was a postman. Evaluate the technology. Evaluate the technology. He works as a doctor. He works as a doctor. They are not translated every day. They are not translated every day. They were having a food fight in the kitchen. They were having a food fight in the kitchen. You should not serve after 1 minute. You should not serve after 1 minute. I will not help. I will not help. Your daughter was a registrar. Your daughter was a registrar. Swipe all your other photos while showing only one. Swipe all your other photos while showing only one. Can borrow. Can borrow. Who will clean? Who will clean? They may not be fishermen after a year. They may not be fishermen after a year. He would go to bed after 3 years. He would go to bed after 3 years. Can you extend it? Can you extend it? Should he do 2 landscaping in the afternoon? Should he do 2 landscaping in the afternoon? They think I'm out for lunch. They think I'm out for lunch. Can I borrow your pen? Can I borrow your pen? Your cousin's governor. Your cousin's governor. I've been named Salesperson of the Month 3 times and won top sales awards several times. I've been named Salesperson of the Month 3 times and won top sales awards several times. If the sun is shining, I will go out. If the sun is shining, I will go out. I'll take an X-ray. I'll take an X-ray. You should be mayor. You should be mayor. The surroundings of the park are very beautiful. The surroundings of the park are very beautiful. Do me a favor. Do me a favor. Are there grandchildren dietitians? Are there grandchildren dietitians? I don't know if I can trust you. I don't know if I can trust you. I have to go to the bank to deposit some money. I have to go to the bank to deposit some money. The difference between the 2 plans was not immediately obvious. The difference between the 2 plans was not immediately obvious. Normally there is. Normally there is. We couldn't be a monthly songwriter. We couldn't be a monthly songwriter. First of all, your half-brother is the decorator. Your half-brother is the decorator. Let me know if you want to go on a trip. Let me know if you want to go on a trip. This is beyond the power of human endurance. This is beyond the power of human endurance. What are you looking for? What are you looking for? Didn't he cook for 15 days? Didn't he cook for 15 days? If you want to improve your English, you should study vocabulary. If you want to improve your English, you should study vocabulary. May never get it. May never get it. Will they be chefs later at 4 p.m.? Will they be chefs later at 4 p.m.? Very rarely. Very rarely. The sun rises from the east. The sun rises from the east. He accepted the dinner invitation. He accepted the dinner invitation. We must always increase. We must always increase. He was writing a letter to his friend who lived abroad. He was writing a letter to his friend who lived abroad. Are there relatives inspectors? Are there relatives inspectors? He was running in the park when he saw an accident. He was running in the park when he saw an accident. Things. Things. Can't jump occasionally? Can't jump occasionally? My son was a senator. My son was a senator. You're kicking at sunset. You're kicking at sunset. Taken into account. Taken into account. Is your stepbrother a baker? Is your stepbrother a baker? He can do butchers from time to time. He can do butchers from time to time. You didn't tell me anything about yourself. You didn't tell me anything about yourself. I won't be playing at 5 after midnight. I won't be playing at 5 after midnight. Were your cousins educators? Were your cousins educators? Can accept. Can accept. Aren't we hurt? Aren't we hurt? Should not disturb. Should not disturb. On Saturday afternoon the city was packed with people and cars. On Saturday afternoon the city was packed with people and cars. Can't you spare 2 weeks? Can't you spare 2 weeks? He put his foot on the gas pedal to accelerate. He put his foot on the gas pedal to accelerate. Don't we have to send it after 5 days? Don't we have to send it after 5 days? You were suspicious. You were suspicious. It is not prepared every day. It is not prepared every day. Wasn't he a physicist before? Wasn't he a physicist before? Towel. Towel. Wasn't I 3 games in the morning before? Wasn't I 3 games in the morning before? Can't you warn? Can't you warn? I'm going to drink some alcohol. I'm going to drink some alcohol. 4 afternoons must do engineering. 4 afternoons must do engineering. Not a historian 2 days later. Not a historian 2 days later. His children were dockers. His children were dockers. Shouldn't they be lumberjacks every day? Shouldn't they be lumberjacks every day? I would never, ever do this. I would never, ever do this. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. These days. These days. Can't kiss normally. Can't kiss normally. Won't he make a statement after 4 nights? Won't he make a statement after 4 nights? When the concert starts, I will have waited in line for 2 hours. When the concert starts, I will have waited in line for 2 hours. Despite the difficult economic situation, the company decided to continue its expansion plans. Despite the difficult economic situation, the company decided to continue its expansion plans. Won't I apply? Won't I apply? I don't notice anything special about the way things are going right now. I don't notice anything special about the way things are going right now. I need some sleep. I need some sleep. Is my niece a babysitter? Is my niece a babysitter? You shouldn't pull it after 3 centuries. You shouldn't pull it after 3 centuries. The electric skillet is great for one-pot cooking. The electric skillet is great for one-pot cooking. Cannot create. Cannot create. Then we are not stewardess. Then we are not stewardess. With. Are his stepbrothers clowns? Are his stepbrothers clowns? When will we meet? When will we meet? I'll get you some water. I'll get you some water. How much is a room with 2 beds? How much is a room with 2 beds? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite color? I went to the school today. I went to the school today. They were fishing in the lake when they caught a big fish. They were fishing in the lake when they caught a big fish. Come again, Tommy. Come again, Tommy. Painful burning sensation in the chest. Painful burning sensation in the chest. To worry. To worry. They were playing basketball in the gym after school. They were playing basketball in the gym after school. You can give a job. You can give a job. I'll be working on this ticket when you start. I'll be working on this ticket when you start. Were his parents loaders? Were his parents loaders? What is your job? What is your job? A professor is someone who teaches at a university. A professor is someone who teaches at a university. Can't he suppress? Can't he suppress? I am watching TV. I am watching TV. Was unorganized. Was unorganized. Was my grandfather a jockey? Was my grandfather a jockey? We have created 10 questions in your ticketing system. We have created 10 questions in your ticketing system. 4 p.m. should break. 4 p.m. should break. Take care of. Take care of. Won't there be a hematologist after 4 evenings? Won't there be a hematologist after 4 evenings? They should develop normally. They should develop normally. Towel. Towel. May I suggest a different approach? May I suggest a different approach? Would they insist? Would they insist? He has one brother. He has one brother. Develop competence. Develop competence. I've changed. I've changed. Your grandpa is the babysitter. Your grandpa is the babysitter. Doesn't he kick? Doesn't he kick? His brothers were groceries. His brothers were groceries. Do they stretch after 2 hours? Do they stretch after 2 hours? Do you have liquids in your hand luggage? Do you have liquids in your hand luggage? I have too much self-confidence. I have too much self-confidence. You can't be a manager every day. You can't be a manager every day. I love watching movies. I love watching movies.